What's up, y'all? I'm having my occasional smoke break after having cooked up a few things. Today was my off day, and before I crash, well, get in the sauna then crash, I figured I'd have a smoke. If y'all heard that, that's the sound of my wushu broadswords, by which I'm basically using to basically do all types of wushu flower moves with the broadsword, shit that I've always wanted to do. And there's also I have ulterior motives behind that as well. It's because I know that ain't what is that what I think it is? Is this what I think it is? Say it ain't so. Last week I was here and I was smoking, doing the same that I'm doing now, and I dropped the Black and Mountain, and I just found it. Same motherfucking one. Well, I guess a Black and Mild save is a Black and Mild earned, I guess. And since it's been sitting here, it's probably been rained on and whatever else. I guess I'll just smoke that one and save the other one for another day. Cause yeah, usually I do two. I don't really go for three. During the smoke session, I just do either one and at the most two. But the reason why it's been so long since I've made a new video is because I've made a video before, but I decided to delete it for numerous reasons. And but the recent topic that I wanted to speak of is this whole deal, with what happened to who we know as Laoshu, and this guy, whose real name, he goes by Laoshu, but his real name was well, he went by Laoshu, but his real name was Moses McCormick. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the legacy of Moses McCormick and how fucked up I think it is that he died the way he did, how he was murdered, and how these pieces of shit, who did this to him, how these motherfuckers deserve, every evil thing they have coming for them. Because they basically murdered a prodigy. They murdered someone who was affluent in over 40 languages. And I don't know if I make it, I'm pretty sure I've said it in videos prior, but I too am affluent, not fluent, but affluent in some 40 plus languages. And even though I don't, you probably can't hear it in my voice now, but these past few days I've been pretty, beat up about, I've been pretty tore up Even though, it's been months now, it's been about 2, 3 months since it happened, it's still, it doesn't change it doesn't change the severity of the fact that this dude that I've been following for years on this channel, was murdered by these assholes, these envious assholes who couldn't stand to see, dare I say, couldn't stand to see a black man, let alone anyone, talking to people from all around the world. As y'all know, I live in Denver now. I'm no longer a Memphian. I've renounced everything it means to be a Tennessean or a Memphian. And it's crazy because it's just now that my mind is finally starting to look at life from the viewpoint of a Coloradan instead of a Tennessean. And to me, the reason why that's so strange is because for 27 years, even a little bit longer than that, truth be told, I was a Tennessean. And where I'm getting with that is that since I've been here in Colorado, just like Memphis had all these different foreigners and whatnot, so does Colorado, so does Denver. But as you can imagine, Denver has a little bit more, I wouldn't even say it has more diversity than Memphis, because Memphis is a pretty diverse place despite all the racial tension and low-key, underhanded racism that goes there. There are a lot of ethnic groups in Memphis. And the same can be said about here, except unlike Memphis, out here, it's a lot of Russians, a shit ton of Russians. Apparently it's a good hand of British people out here too. Apparently they're out here. Yeah, Nepalese, a lot of Africans, like especially Ethiopians and Sudanese, a lot of West Africans, and Burmese people, of course Latinos, but that's everywhere, of course Chinese, but that's everywhere. And since I've been out here almost 4 years now. There isn't much of a drive for people to speak different languages. It's just something that a lot of motherfuckers don't do. Hell, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any fellow polyglots since I've been out here. And even which I honestly think is pretty fucked up, because even in Memphis, I was able, every blue moon in Memphis, I was able to catch, someone who was non-Japanese who could speak Japanese. I haven't really found it since I've been out here. I may have found like several instances, but you stay in a place like Memphis, the ass end of the earth, the ass end of Tennessee, you would think that, and then you go out to a place, I don't know, like Denver, that's supposed to be as affluent, you just make assumptions, and then you get out here and you see how much it disappoints. Because not only are there not any, Americans, speaking these different languages, or even foreigners engaging them, because, not that foreigners do that on average. There doesn't seem to be much of a need or a demand for language learning either. Again, despite all the facts that, all these, like I said, all these fucking foreigners, all these Arabs, all these Russians, Latinos, I have business cards that I've put out, and while people have been taking my cards, I haven't been getting any phone calls. So, I figured the definition of insanity is doing something over and over again, expecting a different result. So, and I had to think, this was a gym that because I was leaving my business cards at this gym that I go to, and I had to come to my senses and realize, it's a gym full of gym rats, full of muscle heads. And I say all that to say, the fact that there doesn't seem to be much of a demand for foreign languages, and I seem to be one of the very few Americans who can actually go into, the Russian community, go into the Nepalese community, go into the Burmese community, and communicate with these people. That we're a dying breed. We're a dying breed. I mean, it's not every day you're going to run into somebody who speaks 40 plus languages. And while that's not something to just gawk at and praise, I mean, the least this planet could do is give us some degree of fucking respect and, props or whatnot. Instead of just being on some sucker and hater shit like these motherfuckers were when they murdered Moses. 'Cause that was some fucking bullshit. Because I'm like, y'all murdered this man because he was a polyglot? Because he was a hyper polyglot? Really? Because he was communicating with people from all around the world. More people than, I do. Because, Bosnians, Armenians. Africans, East Africans, West Africans, Mongolians. Cultures and peoples whose languages I really don't speak like that. Because, I don't speak Mongolian. Not really sure if I'll ever come around to learn it. Because the languages that I do engage in give me all the exercise that I need. And like I said, with the prospects being so low, and the futility, the seeming futility of this endeavor, that I've spent just as much time, if not even longer, or I don't want to say if not longer, but almost just as much time as Laoshu spent learning Chinese, learning Burmese, learning, like I said, the languages of the world. And we're talking about someone who made a living doing this, who provided for his family, with these foreign language courses. And I'm sitting up here, almost it's like I'm being forced among all these monolinguals. Amongst all these Anglophobes, and to an extent some Hispanophobes, who are trying to convince me that what I've, like I said, spent the past dang near 20 years doing is utterly worthless. Ain't hitting on nothing. I think it's good that I've waited this long to make this video at this time of the night, because during the daytime, there's people out there playing soccer, playing lacrosse, cars zooming all over the place, making just a complete fucking racket. But in a setting like this, there can be something of a moment of silence to, commemorate, our brother Moses. Our brother from another mother, of course. Because I don't mean to say that lightly, because he does actually have a brother who's, even more frantic than we are, and even more upset, as, understandably so. And apparently that ominous day, the powers that be, if you will, tried to kill him too. Laoshu's brother. They tried to kill him, but they failed to, but they managed to get they got Moses. Like I said, with all the books that I have, when it comes to different foreign languages, be it Burmese, Malayalam, Thai, Cambodian, Vietnamese, Czech, Polish, it's just not the same anymore. And I don't know if it's because I'm on the verge of becoming fluent in these languages that, again, I've been studying for many a years, just been practicing for many a years. But with Moses gone, it's just not the same anymore. And it's like I've spent the whole, if not the entirety of my life, fighting against this idiocy that has sought through my circle, through the city that I had to run up out of, and I dare even say this city, that I spent my whole entire life fighting to get away from that idiocy. But what will the reward be if I surrender? You're not going to get laid surrendering to the idiocy. You're not going to, so as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can tell, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. Like I said, I didn't grow up the way I see it, because I actually thought about, before going back to college again, to go into the trades. Oh, yeah, excuse me for a minute. Let me light this cig. Trying to light this black. If it, shit. I think it did get rained on. It's pretty wet. I can't seem to. I'm just trying to take the wrapper off so I can pull the fucker out. It's not letting me do it. I hate, this would be a waste of a. And that's one thing I don't believe in, is allowing anything of value to go to waste. Anything. Shit, fuck it. Oh well. It destroyed itself while I was, tore itself apart while I was trying to undo the wrap. It must have rained a few days ago, because even though I don't remember. So I'm just go ahead and just light up the second one. Alright. Y'all have to excuse me. I was, like I said, I was trying to light the old Black and Mild, but that fucker, you know, broke apart on me. Sitting around all that time. Even though, like I said, I don't recall it raining anytime soon. It must have been, now that I think about it. Yeah, I am in the park, and they do have these water sprinklers, so that's probably how I got damp and moist and whatnot. So, I guess that's a waste of tobacco. It is what it is. So I decided to light this second one. You know, the second one that I carry with me, not the one that's been on the ground since Saturday. But, you know, the way I fucking see it, like I said, I didn't grow up working on cars, doing drywall work, working on houses, doing construction, you know, working with sockets and electricity or AC, you know, vocational shit. I didn't grow up like that. But one thing that is in my legacy that I did do, that even precedes what I'm going back to college to do, which is, you know, the engineering fields, and that's foreign languages. That's my foundation. Foreign languages is probably in the attention to detail that's required in order to acquire foreign languages. Especially the amount that I've acquired is probably the reason why I finally gotten a hold of science, math. Shit that this society and many other societies in the West do recognize as being essential skills. And as I was as I've been drilling as hard as I have been in STEM, because I plan to go back. I'm pretty sure I've said this before, but I plan to go back for bioengineering and comp science. I was on the verge before Moses passing away. I was on the verge of letting this go, leaving this alone, and just calling it what it is. A skill that's just not essential to the masses. Besides, I had Moses for a competitor, and there was no competing with Moses. Moses was the best among us. Because, I know there's this guy named Lang Focus. He's got his channel going on. And there are others. But nah, I honestly believe, and Lang Focus is pretty good. I'll give him that much. Because I don't think, as good as what the fuck was it? I don't know if y'all heard that. I know there wasn't no damn firework. I think I see some smoke lingering in the air. Hell no, what the fuck? Anyway. I mean, Moses was good, but I don't think he was so good that he, was hitting on the European languages as well as he was, like I said, the Asian and African languages, which isn't a diss or a slant in any regard, because those African and Asian languages, especially those damn Asian languages, are tough. They are tough. But, you know, when he passed away, when he was murdered, that, I guess that was the inspiration, you know, not necessarily in the positive sense. Those are some fucking these motherfuckers are shooting fucking fireworks. I don't fucking believe it. I don't fucking believe what I'm looking at right now. There's some motherfuckers in the neighborhood shooting fucking fireworks. And 4th of July was some 2, if not damn near 3 weeks ago. Boy, you know, you run into some crazy shit this time of the night. And, you know, it's not like Denver is a city that doesn't sleep. It is a city that sleeps. It's just, I don't know if y'all see that, but there's some douchebag popping fireworks. I don't believe it. So yeah, y'all have to forgive me. I was getting in a couple of puffs. But yeah, man. And since his demise, and since I've continued or basically resumed my foreign language studies, I'm starting to run into so yeah, if y'all hear a kaboom sound, that's because, yeah, some fuckers popping fireworks, so you know I'm not lying when I say that. But I say he was the best among us, and I'm basically a nobody. You know, I've done what I could as far as, you know, making myself, you know, known in my local. And, you know, I probably could go to Fox 31 here and do the same shit. But unless I'm hitting on something and got business cards and got things where I'm advertising the shit, I really don't see the point in doing so. Because unless Channel 31, you know, wanted to invite me, you know, and I'm, you know, basically I advertise there. But like I said, Moses was the best among us, and when he died, that put me in a rage that gave me the motivation. I don't want to say inspiration, because that's not really, I don't think that's the appropriate word to describe what I'm feeling, because I'm not necessarily inspired, you know, on some positive energy, but I am motivated, definitely, to take the reins and continue the legacy that he left behind. Continue the legacy, as far as what he was teaching, what he was getting ready to teach, what he was on the verge of teaching, what he was on the verge of breaking through, doing what so many linguists have put, you know, info out there, and we know that because that's the kind of info that he used, the info that I use in order to acquire these skills. But there's nothing really out there unless you want to spend the money. And, you know, for the average individual, acquiring something like Malayalam, you know, just to use that language as an example, isn't something that too many people are even going to have the motivation, let alone the capacity to do. But since, I've gone back to, and I've often stated that I'm a huge aficionado of the languages of Southeast Asia. Even though long before I started with Southeast Asian languages, I had acquired some 12 languages prior to. And I've spent years, trying to understand, these scripts. Because once you get the writing down, the language is as good as yours. But if you're illiterate in that language and you're trying to read over stuff full context in languages like Burmese and Cambodian, you're gonna run into roadblocks. And my continuation of Indic languages, like Indo-Iranian, basically the languages of India, are starting to help me see things that I normally, or prior to, I wouldn't have been able to explain, as far as why there's certain letters or certain symbols in Thai and in Cambodian. I'm finally starting to see that because of my exposure to the Indian languages, because Thai and Cambodian, their scripts come from, the same scripts that Tamil and Hindi and Malayalam come from. They all come from Brahmi. And they have influences from like old Indian languages like Pali and Sanskrit. So, in basically what I'm trying to say, while I'm, trying to enjoy the last of my black and mild, is that, and it's probably the only thing that's calming my nerves, because when I tell you, like I said, you probably can't hear it now, but when I tell you how distressed, how much this hurt me just as much as his fans, even though I didn't know him, he didn't know me personally. We didn't know each other personally, but like I said, I felt like I grew up with this cat. And it's just now that, it's like the 4 stages of grief. Where, it was at first denial. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. Because like I said, this is a man I'd known for some 12 plus years. And instantly, he's dead. And I'm like, he's dead? He's only like 4 years older than me. He ain't like he... And then we heard he had a heart attack. I'm like, how he had a heart attack? He was skinny as hell. And he was working out. He was in the prime of his life. But he has a heart attack. Oh, well, he had a heart attack not because of any kind of health conditions. He had a heart attack because he was murdered. So I'm here to say this. You may have killed the messenger. You just may have killed the messenger. You may have killed a messenger. But for every Moses that you do kill, or you get up out the paint, I don't know the stats, but I can at least guarantee you this much. There's always going to be at least one person to take his place. And I know that because I'm that person. So, with me experiencing what I've experienced on planet Earth, with me enduring what I have endured on this planet, this shithole planet, I've had little to no reason to continue in the pursuit of acquiring foreign languages in a world of tribalism, in a world of racism, where I was just about this close of just giving the hell up. Because let's face it, a planet like this is not ready for a black man to be teaching them how to speak in a multitude of languages. That's just not the world we live in, unfortunately. And that's probably why Moses had to die. The most innocent among us. Because, like I said, he wasn't a goon, he wasn't a drug dealer. You know, some YouTubers that I listen to, like Sean James, actually point out how in this society, and it's something that's finally it's, you know, at the age of 35, it's finally starting to dawn on me that this whole image of the goon, the drug dealer, the fruit, the basketball player, these are images that this wicked society goes out of its way to uphold. As far as, so in other words, we do indeed, like, society expects you to be just a dumb shucking and jiving, cooning, buck dancing, pickaninny shine ball. And you can't really just do that when you're speaking a multitude of foreign languages. So, as long as I'm here, if I can't do it for anyone else, I'll do it for him. And what do I mean when I say I'll do it? I mean continuing the pursuit, the very thing that I've spent some past dang near 20 years learning and acquiring. Because I once naively thought that, you know, if I spoke a multitude of foreign languages, that would make me marketable and make me, you know, outcompete the competitors, outcompete my competition, which in a said setting would be true, but that setting doesn't even exist. See, I was going to give Moses the reins. I was going to let him have it, let him have his glory, because, you know, and, you know, I'm not saying this to disparage his, you know, death or anything, or try to make it seem like, you know, oh, with him out of the way, I can go ahead and, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying, while he was here, if I had gone and did anything with the foreign languages, not only would I have been risking a thankless task, endeavoring on a thankless task, I would have been competing with him. And like I said, there was no competing with Moses. Moses was the cream of the crop. He was the GOAT of all of us. I always felt like his second in command, because every language that I was on or had started to take up on, he was already 5 steps ahead of me. Literate in the script, in Burmese script. Spoke Burmese damn near like a native. Well, what about, and I would always test it. I'd be like, what about Hebrew? Already can read Hebrew, can write Hebrew. Now, the only thing I did have a leg up on Moses is, like I said, some of the European languages, some. Because I don't know if he spoke German. I doubt if he spoke German. And he did speak several European languages, but I don't think German was one. I mean, though I could be wrong, because, you know, there was one clip where apparently he was speaking Norwegian. And, you know, I say that because Norwegian and German are like, you know, they're in the same language family. They're both Germanic. Of course, German's way harder than Norwegian, but no, that's neither here nor there. So, like I said, I will do this just for the sake.
And do I expect to make a profit off of it? Of course I do. It's a business. It's my business. It's something that I've spent the past 20 years building up to do. Just like your technician, just like your bus mechanic, your electrician, your diesel mechanic, your IT specialist, which is something that, ironically enough, I intend to become when I matriculate back into college, into university. You know, following the steps of practicality now that I know better. Because back then, like I said, when I first started with the languages, I didn't know any better. I didn't see the need and the significance of STEM in mastering, you know, things like math. I've always figured that as long as I was good enough in it, you know, hey, it got me into school. I didn't have to be, you know, an Einstein or a master of trig, geometry, calculus, and all this. But now, oh yeah, I gotta master all that shit, including the foreign languages. Because, like I said, the lead disciple in this Shaolin temple has been murdered. And that's how I like to think we're, you know, we linguists, we polyglots are some sort of monks. You know, because we're committed to knowledge. We're just as committed to knowledge as any, you know, Buddhist monk, even though we're not necessarily, you know, shaving our heads and doing kung fu all over the place, anything of that sort. But I like to think to an extent we're monks. Monks committed to knowledge. And one skill that we just happen to have, you know, in the midst of, like I said, STEM fields, like I said, technology, engineering, natural sciences, is foreign languages. And it's not every day you're going to run into somebody who can speak Russian, who can speak Burmese, who can speak Tagalog, Thai, Mandarin. But of course, it's just like this fucking planet. It's just like this planet. To reward those who can do stuff like that with death. It doesn't surprise me. Knowing this planet, it doesn't surprise me. As much as distraught as I was and have been about Moses dying so soon and untimely, it doesn't surprise me knowing this planet. But I'm here to say to those who, not only will you be found out, not only will your sin be found out, and you will be found out, all you've done by killing him is awaken a sleeping giant to take his place. Because I doubt you'll find me. I mean, if you do find me and you take me out, I'll actually be surprised. Because society has gone out of its way to put me in certain spots so that, and making sure that I don't, you know, leave my fence. And, you know, so I like to think, you know, I got a pretty low profile. I mean, think about it now. I'm in a city where don't nobody know me. Except my coworkers and the tenants that I live with. Aside from that, who know me? I mean, who know me. And even them motherfuckers don't know me. I'm in a whole nother city. I got access to way better resources. So for his sake, I've decided to endeavor. And like I said, success or failure, profit or no profit, I'm going to see to it that what Moses was working on gets put out there. And of course, it'll be in my format. It'll be, my intellectual property and all that. Because, I ain't no fool. I'm not going to, get on his website or get on, the things that he used. Like I said, he used these things to make a living. So it's not like I'm just going to, be on some plagiarism type shit. Hell no. On some intellectual property theft type shit. No, it's going to be my ideas, my perks, my websites, my material, based on the information that has been given to me through these different books that, I've been reading and studying for years, in an effort to create something that makes acquiring foreign languages much easier than it has been for God only knows how long. Because learning a foreign language is hard enough. I'm pretty sure we can all agree on that, whether we speak one language, 2 languages, 20 languages. We can all agree that learning a foreign language and then on top of that becoming fluent in that language is pretty difficult. So isn't it about time that something's put out there so that it becomes easier? Even if it's a tad bit easier. Moses was working on that, if he hadn't had that out already. And y'all killed him for it. But it won't be to any avail because, like I said, now that he's out the way, now that he's dead and gone, you got to deal with me and the things that I intend to implement as far as foreign language acquisition. You can kill the messenger, but you will never kill the message. That's really my coup de grace, if you will, for lack of better words. So I guess I'll catch y'all in the next vid, because I really don't have much to say after this, because I'm pretty much, on some crusader shit when it comes to following through with this, because I was very half-hearted. I was wishy-washy. I was like, I'm not getting the results that I'm seeing. Like I said, I got business cards out there. People are picking up the business cards, but they're not, they're not making any phone calls. They're not scheduling with me to, be tutored in this or in that. So I'm like, I'm not gonna make a profit off of doing this. But I'm like, you know what? Now that Moses is gone, now that y'all assholes murdered him, I'm like, at this point, if I make a profit off of this, cool. If I don't make a profit off of this, I'm gonna do it anyway. Cause this goes beyond whether or not I can flip a coin off of this, if I can hit a lick, if you will. But it would be very interesting if I could, because it would just go to show that I don't have to resort to these dumb nigger stereotypes and be out here slanging in order to acquire my bread, to acquire my daily bread. That I can actually use my brain. So I'm really hoping that will happen. But even if it doesn't, for the sake of honoring Moses' legacy and what he was leaving behind and what he used to provide for his family, I will create these websites teaching individuals things that should have been out there, things that should have been in the classroom. Because you still got kids, American kids, struggling with Spanish. And we mastered Spanish some 20 years ago. And hell, if Spanish gives most people a run for their money, I guess there's no hope for Thai. or Japanese or anything Asian. But see, that's where people like me come into play. Breaking it down to its most finite element so that you would have to either be lazy, you would have to be just unmotivated. I mean, there should be no excuse. My whole point in making my material as far as acquiring foreign languages is that there is no excuse. It's doable. It makes perfect sense. The only way you couldn't acquire it, and I'm not saying you have to be perfect in the language, but the only way you're not going to be able to speak this language after running into the material that I plan on putting there is that you're completely, incompetent, lazy, and simply have no motivation for acquiring, such a language like Spanish and other languages that'll come after. Because for me, Spanish is the foundation. I'm going to actually use Spanish to, create, to have the basis as far as the idea when it comes to the other languages as well, even though, those languages are definitely going to have, it's definitely going to be different because obviously Spanish doesn't operate the same way Tamil operates. But Spanish will be the first language that I use, and it'll be the foundation for, the other languages following. And like I said, it'll be in honor of Moses, and to prove that you can kill as many of us as you want, but you'll never kill the message. And the message is out there. We're getting the message out there. We sacrificed way too many years when we could have been, mind you, me and Moses, being black men in the fucked up cities that we come out of. We could have been the stereotypical Negroes, but we chose a different path. We didn't choose the streets. We chose Punjabi. We chose Hindi. We chose Hebrew, our language. As we are Israelites, we chose a different path. And all the consequences, all of the punishments, all of the wrath of the earth that came along with that, we chose that. The way I see it, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So choose your damnation wisely. For me, as far as me, I've already chosen mine. I chose my damnation some damn near 20 plus years ago. And I'll be damned if I deviate from that. There's no way I'm deviating from that. So I'll catch y'all in the next video. I'm out.